Good day, class. I'm Mark.
I'm Gonzo.
And today we're talking about building a fighter for epic fun.
All right, Mark, you know what the problem is, and you know what the problem is. That is that you look, at first glance, you look at the fighter class in your player's handbook, and you think, that's kind of boring. There's a lot, not very diverse. There's not a lot of choices there, and it's just a hack and slash. It's just a hack and slash class. I want something a little more, with an ability to change things up and that kind of thing. Thematic, all of those things.
Yeah, when you look at fighters in films, it's really, you think of things like, you might think of Captain America, you think of John Wick, Rocky, Legolas is even, you could argue he's a ranger or fighter, but he does a lot of fighting. Katniss Everdeen, all of these are examples of fighters, and you kind of picture them being more hack and slash kind of. That's the first thing that kind of comes to mind. But is that really the whole picture?
It's definitely not. In fact, after you and I have taken quite a bit of time in reviewing the fighter class, I really want to play a fighter next time I have an opportunity to do that. And there are some great opportunities there. So let's get into it and talk about it. Even talking about those examples you used,
right?
I think there's some differences there that we'll hint on.
Some little nuances in there, yeah.
So
okay, all right. So
what is a fighter? What did it get? What is the main reason we would pick a fighter in forming a D&D party?
Well, first of all, the fighter is good at fighting. I mean, that's why they call it a fighter.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, I know it's crazy.
Interesting.
They took a lot of time coming up with the name. I'm sure that was a big meeting. What are we going to call this thing?
Think tank.
Yeah, think tank. But a fighter, they're the expert at fighting, and that's what they're supposed to be. And what I like about fighter is they're good at what they do. They're built to do that, and that is wield a sword, or an axe, or we don't really think about it, but really a bow. I mean, a bow. We
crossbow,
often, those weapons,
shield.
martial weapons. That's what they're going to carry, and they're skilled at doing that. And picking a fighter, you're rewarded in those skills for being a fighter. Some of the other ones can have those things, but the fighter seems to be most skilled. They're trained to do that. Right.
Yeah.
So as a fighter, right, all fighters get second wind.
Yeah.
Which is a little small healing spell. They also get action surge, which allows them an extra attack on occasion.
That's those are big deals.
Yeah.
Second, the ability to heal yourself,
right,
and then ability to have another action, another attack,
right,
in combat is a really big deal. And you get that right at first level.
Yeah, first level you get second wind. Yeah, you get second wind and action surge pretty quickly. I know after you first start. So you're early on. You get those things, and so that's everybody. All fighters get that, no matter what you pick. And then you pick your fighting style. Which what's the fighting style?
The fighting style is what defines you as far as what kind of fighter you're going to be. Okay. You mentioned Legolas as an example of a fighter.
Right.
But yet he's normally 90% of the time using a bow from long range.
Right.
That is a fighting style, is archery.
Gotcha.
Captain America, you mentioned, well, he uses a shield for everything.
Right.
He's got it balanced. He can throw it. He uses it to protect his teammates and himself.
Yeah.
He bludgeons with it, whatever. Right. There's polearm fighters where you use long distance spears and halberds and things like that, where you keep your enemies at bay. They can't even get a swing at you, and you're stabbing them and swiping at them, and there's all kinds. So picking the fighting style right there changes the dynamic of what kind of character you're building.
Okay.
So already there's more diversity than originally thought.
Yeah, so a little more flexibility, and maybe not just your hack and slash person that you might see, that there are already some nuances that we're seeing that you have some flexibility there already. Just a little bit of flexibility, but there's even more flexibility, right, Gonzo? Because you can pick later on, third level, you get to pick what your class is.
Yeah, by this level, you're right. By third level, I think every class is able to pick their subclass, their archetype.
Yeah.
What are they really good at? So not only are you able to wear any armor,
right,
or carry and use any weapon and train in any weapon, dual weapon fighting, whatever. Not only are you able to do those things, but now you're able to really focus your abilities and become something else entirely. So let's talk about those three subclasses. And we're going to use today. We're just pulling the ones out of the player's handbook.
Yeah.
We could do videos like Xanathar's guide to everything else has more subclasses, and there's even a couple more on D&D Beyond. But we just want to use the ones from the player's handbook today.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that's kind of given the vanilla flavor, people think, oh, it's so boring, is the champion class. The champion class, they get some really great feats, right? They get some great abilities. One that you were talking about earlier was just amazing. 7th level. Picture this. 7th level. You get
to jump. You get to jump farther.
Jump farther.
Yeah. It says you're able to jump a number of feet equal to your strength modifier.
Wow.
Extra.
Wow.
So that could be up to 3 to 4 feet.
Oh my gosh.
More.
So you mean while the wizards are getting like epic spells and stuff at 7th level, they're able to do incredible things.
Yeah, they're already past fireball and all that.
You can jump farther?
Yeah, 3 to 4 feet, maybe.
Why wouldn't anyone want to be a champion? I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I was trying to jump over a chasm and I missed it by 3 feet.
It comes up all the time.
I can't tell you how many times. Yeah.
So that's kind of vanilla. The main thing they get is their critical is improved, and they get that right away at 3rd level. Yeah, you're able to call a 19 on your roll, on your D20 roll, as a critical. So now you have an extra 5% chance of doing double damage. So you're definitely a damage dealing fighter. You're up front and you are taking it to the enemy.
And you can jump further.
Jump further. So
all right, so all you champions down there, you can call us out in the comments down there if you're like, I like my champion fighter. Well, we just think it's kind of boring, but this would be a good starting point for a new player.
Yeah, you're right, Mark. I do like it's in the player's handbook. I like that they gave us this opportunity to be a very vanilla black and white, get up there and fight, do a ton of damage, not worry about all the other things that can be involved in this role-playing game. This is great for new people learning to play the game. Maybe for the first time, if someone comes over and you don't want to take the time to go through everything with them on skill checks and ability checks and saving throws and all that, you just make them, hey, want to be Rocky in the game?
Yeah.
Pick a champion fighter. You want to be Captain America in the game? Well, he's probably a battle master, but we'll get to that. But if you want, and you can give them literally a pre-made champion fighter, and anyone can play the game using that, and that's really great for introducing people to this wonderful game. So I think it's important that it's in there, and it's definitely great for the first timer, or maybe someone's only going to play once or twice with you. And I will say, it's very difficult to run a game without having a fighter in your group of some kind. Yeah. Like, you can do it, and we've played that way. Right now we're in a campaign where we have 5 magic users of some sort, but it's very hard to do to succeed without having someone that's willing to be and brave enough, or foolish enough to go up and just tackle the dragon, and get right up in its face, because they are basically the front line for everything. So.
Yeah, and they can actually have heavy armor. Yeah, and so their AC is pretty high, so they can take some beating. Yeah. And I've been in parties where everyone's all softies, and that's not cool. All right, who's going to take a hit at it? And already you start weaning down, wearing down pretty quickly because you don't have a lot of hit points. Right. Your armor class is not as high, so this is really good. And one thing I do like what Dungeons and Dragons in general is doing is rewarding the pure players. Like, if you're a healer, you're really good at healing. If you're a fighter, you're really good at fighting. Right. So I like that. So
that's the champion.
So the battle master is really the master of the battle. Like, their strength is that they can they have these maneuvers.
Yeah.
They're kind of studying the battle, how it's going. They can do these slick maneuvers. There's 16 different maneuvers.
There's 16 that you're given a superiority die, they call it, or basically a D8 that you can add to different techniques within the game, and you can use that to buff you or debuff a bad guy or whatever. So there's 16 different maneuvers. We're not going to cover them all. Please open your player's handbook to page 74, class, and review them yourselves. But we just picked a couple that we wanted to talk. One is the riposte. I really like that one. It's that when if something's attacking you and they miss, or it just doesn't do you damage because you're wearing good armor, you basically get a reaction attack. Yeah. So that may happen a lot because already you're going into the battle with high AC. So you basically are getting an attack when it's not even your turn. Yeah, it's their turn, but you're able to turn it back on them. So I like that one. With the other one was the distracting strike. Now this one's kind of more thematic, but it's one where you're able to add your superiority die to your damage roll, and then it gives the players around you advantage against that person that you're attacking until your next turn. So it's a good one in that
Could be a game
other
changer.
people are involved now.
Yeah.
You know, you're basically maybe you hit them in the stomach so hard that they're bent over.
Right.
Now your teammate has advantage on them. Can roll 2d20s, take the higher number.
Right. So initially you get to choose 3 of those 16 different maneuvers, and then as you get higher in level, you can add more. So you have later on you're going to have quite a repertoire of maneuvers to choose from in a battle. So yeah, it's a great idea. I think, and like you said, it actually can help you and the party. So it has utility. So there's some flexibility right there already we see in the Battle Master. But I think the one that we are really kind of excited about, and we're going to talk more about today, the thing that kind of makes us kind of interested, I think, to play a fighter that we think has a lot of flavor is the Eldridge Knight.
The Eldridge Knight. So it's almost contradictory. Why would you want to be a pure fighting class yet you have spells? A lot of people actually want that, and that's why this was designed. It's really thematic. Even Gandalf was an Eldritch Knight of some. He had spells. You know, he's obviously a wizard, yet he was flinging that sword around most of the time.
Yeah, true.
You know, so I picture him as at least having some of that in him.
Good point.
But you know, an Eldritch Knight, we decided to build a background for this and come up with a story of how you could build an Eldritch Knight. What's the reason behind them having magic in their repertoire with everything else that they're doing.
So first of all, what does Eldritch Knight get? They get 2 things right away, right? And one of them is really big for a fighter is they get to cast spells. Yeah. I mean, like a fighter that gets to cast spells. Okay, that sounds pretty powerful. Sounds like a good idea. And the next thing is those spells will kind of dovetail with what they're doing, which we'll explain in a moment.
Yeah.
And something. So and the other thing is they get weapon bond, which they can totally teleport to their hand.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Weapon. So they can throw a weapon technically and teleport it back to their hand.
We have one that we're playing right now in our campaign, and he's using his, I think it's an axe or something, but he's throwing it, and then he's, you know, as a bonus action, he's bringing it back to his hand.
Yeah.
So you can't be disarmed. You form a ritual or a bond with this weapon. You can't be disarmed, and even if someone takes it away from you, maybe you're in jail or something. I would assume
cool.
you could. I'm assuming at some point you could. Boom! It's there in your hand. So.
That'd be fun for a DM to figure that one out.
Yeah. Good luck, Dungeon Masters.
Good luck.
It's all fun and games.
Right.
So we're building an Eldritch Knight.
Okay.
We're building an Eldritch Knight.
So we wanted to give an example of what that might look like and how we might build one to make it epic fun. We want maximum fun fighter. So here we go, Eldritch Knight. So how would we get our brain around the idea that he's a fighter that now uses magic, because fighters typically don't use magic, but we wanted to make, what's the reason for that?
Well, I think you were looking at the different backgrounds because we like to flesh our characters out with backgrounds, and we looked at the Haunted one and we said, how could we make that work with an Eldritch Knight? It quickly formed in both of our minds. We came to a consensus really quick of how this could happen, and it was basically a tragedy happens to this knight, and we pictured maybe a young man who is wanting to be a knight like his father and maybe his father's father, right? And he's trying to be a part of this order, and he finally is allowed to help them on this grand quest that they have to get rid of a evil necromancer that's terrorizing an area of the land and gaining in power. And so this small order of knights is heading out to take care of him, and then tragedy's going to happen, right?
Yeah, so the necromancer, during the battle with the necromancer, the order pretty much all gets wiped out except for the poor knight-to-be who cowers in fear. He runs from the battle. He can't handle watching this necromancer wiping out his brothers and then summoning them back up to fight for him. It's just too much for his head, and he just reruns. And that haunts him to this day. The fact that he was going to fulfill his destiny, and even part of the destiny of the Knight's Code was to die with your brothers if need be,
including his own father.
And including his own father, right? And he's gonna and then he runs from the battle. So that's something that's haunting him to this day. So that's part of that Haunted One thing. And the Haunted One background, it says basically you're haunted by something so terrible that you dare not speak of it. You've tried to bury it and run away from it to no avail. So whatever it is that's haunted you, and it can't be slain with a sword or banished with a spell, it's this thing that you just can't shake, and so it really starts to nag at you. So with that background, thinking he has this haunted because of this situation, he's decided to learn some spells, some magic to fight magic. He wants to one day redeem himself against this.
Yeah, so he's rededicating his life to making up for this great sin of being a coward at one point in his life, his young life, right? And so now he's deciding to learn the art of magic along with being a knight of some kind, and use that spell casting ability with his fighting power to eventually maybe get revenge on this necromancer, who now has gained in power since he wasn't quite, they didn't wipe him out. And so that could be already, you could help your dungeon master with some kind of overarching bad guy just through your background, or maybe someone he can bring into the campaign at some point that you're really going to be striving to go after. You're after this guy, this necromancer. So I think that background, a haunted one background mixed with a spell casting fighter, really adds to the point of your charisma's probably not very high. Yeah. Because you're going to be skulking, you're going to be...
Yeah, kind of gloom and doom kind of guy, like, oh, what's the point? We're all lost anyway. He's just a really kind of Debbie Downer in that respect, so you could play it that way. It just nags at him. It's constantly, this thing is nagging at him. But it also drives him to learn these spells and become more and more powerful. And right away, in Eldridge Knight, they start out with some of the cantrips. I mean, they have some great cantrips right away. They have Blade Ward, where they have
an ability to pick those, right? They can pick from, what is it, evocation and abjuration spells on a wizard's spell list?
Right, correct. And so I'm saying is they have available, because they have those choices, they have Blade Ward, they have Ray of Frost, and we were thinking that those two cantrips, and they have more to choose from, but some that jumped out at us
for this guy
were interesting. A Blade Ward, you cast that on yourself and then go into battle, and anything bludgeoning, piercing, all that, you're resistant to that. That seems pretty big for a fighter. Mm-hmm. And then Ray of Frost, you slow down. This is one of our favorite tricks in Diablo. Slow down the enemy and hack
freeze
at him a bit.
Yeah,
freeze them. So Ray of Frost. So that would be, those are two cantrips. And then as you start to get stronger and more, you have more abilities where you have your first level spells and second level spells. Things like Sanctuary and Snare. It can help you in certain situations. And you help out your group with Pass Without a Trace, is a second level spell. And then later, when you start getting third level spells,
you're casting Fireball.
You're casting Fireball. All right, game over. All right, good. And with that, good night.
Right.
But if you're a fighter casting Fireball, now granted, that's like 13th level is when you start getting third level spells. But you can cast like counterspell. You can now you're fighting wizard against wizard,
which would make sense for this character building up to getting that counterspell. Spell when he's facing off against a necromancer that wiped out his...
And those Fireball and Counterspell may be the ones that he's really going for. He can fight the guy, he can stop him from summoning up stuff, and then he can just dish out the damage with Fireball. So we really like the idea of the flavor of this, is that you can take it in... There's all different ways you can take an Eldritch Knight, but the ability to use weapon and magic together, that's a powerful combination.
Yeah, after reviewing this, I really like the fighter class. If you haven't played it yet because you've been attracted more to the more fantastical magic-using classes, give it a shot, even just in a one-shot. It's a great opportunity to just pick up a fighter, pick up a champion fighter, and make those really long jumps at 7th level.
But so much fun.
But I really like the fighter class, and they're so important. And like you said in the beginning, any great thematic movie or story you've heard or read has a fighter at the core of it. They just do. And so we really like them. And also, I think in the comments below, if you guys could give us a name for this character we've developed, that would be good. That we couldn't come to a consensus with. That's the hardest part of building a character, is picking its name, in my estimate. My estimate.
Easy for you to say.
Easy for not easy for me to say. So let us know in the comments below. Give us a name for this character. Please like if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. And hit the bell for notifications.
Yeah, if you want more fun D&D ideas and content, be sure to subscribe. That helps us know that you like what we're doing and you want more. So that really helps us. And with that,
class dismissed.